So, Wuthering Waves has been out for about 11 or 12 days now, and I wanted to give my general thoughts on it. So, I am at Union level 37, and I have explored the whole world pretty much 100%. I'm just not done with Looming Bay and Central Plains, which I have been hearing from other people that you can't get them to 100% anyways, so is that. And I've done, I believe, every quest currently available in the game. So I guess the first thing to talk about would be the combat, because that is kind of the standout thing about Wuthering Waves, the main appeal to it. And I absolutely love the combat of this game. I find it to be way more fun than Genshin Impact. And also, there's probably going to be a lot of Genshin Impact comparisons in this, because the games are very similar, of course, and I also played Genshin for 3.5 years. Combat's a lot of fun. I especially really enjoy the intro and outro skills for your characters, that you have an extra meter that you can fill up, which is this one down here. And that allows your characters to perform additional abilities, which can be like just straight up big damaging attacks, or they can be buffs for the next character, whatever it may be, for the character swapping out and the character coming in. And that's a lot of fun. I feel like that adds a lot to character swapping that Genshin just never had for me. I found character swapping in Genshin Impact just very unappealing and rather boring, and I much preferred to just stay on one character pretty much the whole time. But in this game with intro and outro skills, I feel like it makes character swapping actually fun, and I love doing it in this game. And I love how when you perform an intro skill, your character will just jump onto the next enemy. So for example, if I come up here and just kill this wolf, if I kill this wolf right here, and then hit my intro skill, I'm immediately jump onto this guy over here. And that's a lot of fun, being able to just do that in combat. It really helps add to the pace of combat when fighting multiple enemies, that you can just kill one and immediately jump onto another one with your intro skill. Dodging also feels better in this game, because if you get a perfect dodge, you get like a whole time slow thing for a moment. And then there's also a parry mechanic, which can be really satisfying once you get the hang of it. So overall, I'm very much enjoying the combat of this game, and I definitely like it more than Genshin Impact in that regard. I think so far the only real negative I have with combat is the auto-targeting is really bad. Now, thankfully, they did just put out like a developer message the other day that said they were going to improve it, so I look forward to that happening. But as of right now, it's terrible. You will constantly attack enemies that are just far away from you for no reason. Your character will just target them instead of enemies that are right next to you. It's really annoying. So hopefully whatever improvement they have planned for it will make it way better and fix that issue entirely. So even when I just fought those wolves a minute ago, when I performed my intro skill, if the targeting worked the way it should, I would have intro skilled onto the second small wolf, but instead it had me intro skill onto the big wolf in the distance. Exploration has also been very enjoyable, and of course, because you can just run on walls like so, it makes things very fun to just get around. Sometimes it can be a little janky and you'll end up running on things that you didn't mean to, or sometimes you'll run to the side around like a thin object and you'll just like spin around it. Like this, if I go on this tree, if I just want to go straight up the tree and I end up going in a circle around it because I had a slight tilt. But generally that's not too much of a problem, and it feels great overall. Though what I will say is this game definitely lacks options for just running long distances. Like if I want to run away, if I want to run all the way over here, like this doesn't feel great to just run. This does feel rather slow, and I wish there were more options. So pretty much the only thing you can do in the game right now is you can use the Infernal Rider, and you can just ride him for a bit, but then it just ends, and you have to wait for the cooldown to go again. But the Infernal Rider is a like fire type echo, and you're probably only going to equip him onto a fire character, which this character is. I'm not going to equip him onto like other characters and like sacrifice their set bonuses and whatever echoes they have for combat just to help me get around the world a little easier sometimes. So I hope in the future they add more echoes like the Infernal Rider that can be used for traversal, as well as maybe just like add characters to the game like Yelan, who has that dash that really helps you just run around the overworld a lot faster. And then the other thing would be the gliding. Uh, I feel like it feels really slow to me. I don't know if it's like how the speed compares to Genshin Impact, but regardless of whether it's like faster or slower, the exact same speed, it just feels really slow in this game. I wish it was faster, especially when you're like gliding long distances. It just feels painfully slow. I wish it was faster. Next thing I want to talk about is the ecosystem. So this is basically your equipment system in the game. You can equip up to these 5 echoes over here, and echoes are monsters you kill in the game, and they can essentially turn into this, gold colored like hologram looking thing. You saw them earlier when I killed those wolves, right? They have a chance to drop whenever you kill a monster in the game, and then they become a piece of equipment that you can equip. Overall, I like this system a lot. I love that it's the thing I love most about this ecosystem is that it gives you a reason to actually kill every enemy that you come across. That's something that like hardly any games do. Like most games don't really give you an incentive to just kill everything you come across. And a lot of times you end up in situations where you feel like if you stop to fight a pack of enemies, you feel like it'll just be a waste of time because you might not get anything out of it. Or like the XP isn't worth it, the item drops aren't worth it, whatever it is you get out of it isn't worth it. Maybe you don't even get anything out of it, right? Whereas in this game, because of the ecosystem, it gives you a reason to kill everything that you come across because they can drop an echo for you. That is, except the human enemies. There are some human enemies in the game, and when you see them, like, they absolutely give you the feeling of, like, I can't get echoes from them. Why the heck am I going to fight them? They're a waste of time, right? So that's really a shame. I kind of hope that they add something to human enemies to make them worthwhile to fight, because they are the type of enemy that you just want to skip right now because you feel like you're not getting anything useful out of them when you fight them. So the main stat can roll between different various stats. So I think for 1-cost echoes, they're all attack, defense, and HP for the main stat. That's the only options available. It's attack, defense, and HP. The secondary stat is always flat HP. And then the substats, you roll as you upgrade them. So if I have like a +0 here, it has no substats. But these ones that are upgraded have substats. Or you'll have, like, here, this guy would be a good example. So this guy's leveled up, but he doesn't have substats because I need to use these tuners on him, and these will unlock his substats. I mean, hell, I'll just do one for the fun of it, just to show it. It's not like I'm going to use these tuners anyway, and your substats can be all sorts of different stats. There's a lot of different useful stats you can get, but I am very annoyed that this game also has flat attack, flat defense, flat HP as available substats, because it's like, we all know that those are just essentially dead stats, right? If I roll this and I get 50 flat attack, well, it's like, what does that do for me? Like, basically nothing. That's probably like a 0.001% increase to my damage. Whoop-de-doo, who cares? Right, so I really hate flat stats. I wish these types of games would stop putting in useless flat stats that are essentially just dead stats for everyone. No one wants them. And I feel like if a stat is useful on no characters, there's no characters in the game at all that want it, then why does it exist? Just take it out. 3-cost and 4-cost echoes have different main stats that they can have. They also have flat attack as their secondary stat. It's kind of a shame that there's nothing that has like flat defense, because I feel like that just makes characters who scale off defense at a disadvantage versus any character that scales with attack and HP. You can get some extra flat attack off of your 3 and 4-cost echoes, and HP scaling characters can get extra HP off of the 1-cost echoes, but there's nothing for defense characters. So that seems really weird. I wish they had kind of like balanced that better. I don't know. Maybe in the future they'll add 2-cost echoes and they'll have defense for their secondary stat. Who knows? Anyways, I do like that there's at least like a decent amount of depth to this system with the different cost of echoes, and you have a cost limit in the top left of 12. So you could use a 4-cost with 2 3-costs and then 2 1s. Or you could also go 2 4s and then have 3 1s. Which might be better for like HP scaling characters to have an extra 1-cost with that extra, 2,000 some HP once they're fully leveled. And your echoes aren't just equipment. You can also, whatever your top echo is, you can use that as an extra ability in battle. So I can do this with this character. So this character here, Chixia, I have the Infernal Rider on, and like I can hold the button down to just like ride on him for a set distance, or I could just tap him and do this attack combo for a bunch of damage, right? So I like that like some echoes even have like a press and a hold version that do different things. So that also like adds to the combat and allows you to like customize your characters a little bit by having this like one custom attack that you can use. Although I feel like in most cases you're probably just going to be using a boss echo as your main echo because they have the strongest attacks. But with in regards to the echo system, this does bring me to one major flaw in the game that I think they really messed up with this game is I think you unlock 5-star echoes way too early. The different rarities of echoes you can get is based on your databank level here, which levels up as you catch echoes. And certain levels are also gated by your union level. That's like your count level. And at databank level 15 is when you first unlock the ability to start getting 5-star echoes. I think this is also gated by being union level 30, but it does not take very long to get to this point. You can easily get here within a week of playing the game. And I think this leads to players essentially unlocking the ability to like start farming for their like end game gear right at the beginning of the game, practically. It's way too soon for this. And I feel like it absolutely messed up the progression of this game. Because once you get to Union level 30, that's when your account leveling slows way down. So you have less things to give you XP, and the amount of XP you need is way higher. So the leveling like slows way down once you hit 30. But you've already unlocked 5-star echoes by this point. So we get into this weird situation where we've essentially just started like the mid-game grind of the game, but we're already trying to farm for our end game echoes. I think this system would have been much better if they had really spaced out the echo rarities and made it so that you spend a lot more time with your 3 and 4-star echoes, because you kind of just fly past those way too quickly. I think I would have liked this system a lot better if reaching level 30 is when you unlocked 4-star echoes, and then you had to get all the way to 40, which is going to take more than a week from when you hit 30 to get to 40. So like have that be when you unlock 5-star echoes at the earliest. And I think that would have given a much smoother echo progression where we could actually spend time like building some 3 or 4-star echoes as we go and not worry about rushing all the way to 5-star echoes, which are just going to eat up all the limited amount of echo experience that we have at this point in the game. So yeah, I think echo progression was horribly messed up, and we rushed through it way too quickly. I guess I can talk about the gacha next. And the gacha system, like a lot of other things in this game, is just like Genshin Impact's gacha, except better. This game actually has 2 starter banners, so you have like the same one as in Star Rail, where you can do like 50 discounted summons, and then you get a random standard 5-star. But then after you finish that one, you unlock a second starter banner, which is this one we're looking at right here, where you can choose whichever standard 5-star character you want. You can just choose them, and then you do 80 summons on this banner, and you will get them. And then once you've done this, I'm pretty sure this goes away. Though I might not ever actually see that happen, because I'm never going to be summoning on this, because I don't care about any of the standard characters in this game. So one thing I really like that they did is they split the standard banner into a character and weapon banner, right? So you have separate character and weapon banners for the standard 5-stars, and I freaking love this because this means that if you're like me and you don't care about any of the standard 5-stars, I can just summon on the standard weapon banner, which I have already done, and I've gotten this sword. Personally, I feel like getting standard 5-star weapons is just going to be way better in the long run, because you can always use weapons on the future characters that you roll for. And then, of course, you have your limited character and weapon banners. And the weapon banner is just guaranteed every time. You cannot get off 5-stars on the weapon banner. You always get the featured weapon. So that is awesome. Let's talk about endgame modes real quick. So there's 2 endgame modes, the first of which is the Tower of Adversity here. And this is just like Spiral Abyss. And when you go into these fights, you get like a 3-star clear condition based on how fast you go, just like the Spiral Abyss. Personally, I really hate this mode because I hate any combat challenges that put you on a strict time limit. I hate it so much. Putting a time limit on something is the easiest way to just suck all of the fun out of it. So personally, I feel like this Tower of Adversity is going to be the least fun thing to do in the game. For me, anyway. So the other endgame mode is Depths of the Elusive Realm. And this is kind of like a roguelike thing, similar to like Simulated Universe in Honkai Star Rail. So far, we just have these 5 stages, it looks like, that go up in level as you go. I've just done the first 2. So when you play this mode, you can only use certain characters. I'm sure in the future they're gonna make all these other characters available. You know, this you have this whole unavailable character section down here with all these characters in it. Um, so characters you own will be highlighted here for you to use, but you do also get trial characters that you can use. I imagine this mode is completely doable just using the trial characters. So you can probably beat all of these modes just fine, regardless of where your account progression is at. But yeah, in this mode, you just pick one character and you just go through. It is just the one character. So far, I've only used Tauchi in this mode, and I've had fun with it. From what I've seen so far, the various buffs that you can get throughout this mode are decently interesting. You know, you can get some like really strong buffs that'll kind of like change up how you play the character. But I do think that there probably needs to be more variety of buffs that you can get, as well as they of course need to add all of the characters. It's kind of ridiculous that you can't use any character in this mode. There's only 6 available right now that you can use. But from what I've played of it, it's been fun, and I look forward to seeing how they develop this mode in the future. I think the last thing I want to talk about would be like the story and like the voice acting and stuff. So overall, I would say the story is decent, especially for a gotcha game. It's decent. It's definitely boring at parts, more so early on, and it's good at parts, more so later on. You know, I wasn't really expecting much from the story coming into the game because pretty much every gotcha game has a really boring story at the beginning. I don't really mind so much personally. I don't play these games for the story. If the story ends up being good, then that's just a bonus. And if the story is bad and continues to be bad, then I'll just start skipping it and never look back. But one thing about the story that is really annoying is the voice acting. I would say overall, the voice acting in this game in English is pretty bad. I would say there's like a very few characters that are good, you know, a handful that are decent, and a bunch that are just bad. Like the biggest offender is Yang Yang, for sure, without a doubt. Her voice is absolutely terrible. I think Yang Yang is the most boring character I have ever seen in any video game I've ever played. She is horrendously bad. Like I don't think someone could make a character that is just more freaking like just flat and soulless and just boring and just empty and just uninteresting as Yang Yang if they tried, right? Like Wuthering Waves, if there was competitions to make the most boring characters imaginable, I'm pretty sure Yang Yang would be the clear winner. And that is in both terms of voice acting and in writing. I don't know what they were thinking with this character. But even a lot of other characters like Jixia, Jixia is definitely a character that has personality to her, but like I really feel like even in the voice acting it feels like they're just like really holding her back and just like not letting her have as much as she should have. I really hope the quality of the English voiceover improves in future versions, and honestly I really hope they just go back and completely redo all of Yang Yang's voice lines because she is that bad. So overall, combat and exploration are both fantastic. Combat feels good to do, the different characters feel good to play, exploring the world feels nice, you have a nice world to explore, and the ways you explore it feel smooth, right? So all of the like main gameplay aspects of the game, fantastic. It's just that, you know, it's just the story that needs work, the voice acting in English needs a lot of work. And again, I think my biggest gripe with the game is that I think they absolutely screwed up echo progression and allowed us to get 5-star echoes way too soon. So now our gear progression is way ahead of like our account progression. I guess my only hope there is that because there's no way they can go back and retroactively make 5-star echoes take longer to unlock because that would just be weird. So I'm just hoping now that like as the game goes on and it gets more content, maybe the skewed progression between like echoes and union level won't feel so bad when there's a lot more content in the game to help you get through your union levels and you're not just sitting here grinding 5-star echoes so much in the meantime. So I definitely recommend this game to anyone out there who likes Genshin Impact or did like it at some point. You know, you like open world RPGs. Even if you're just not a gotcha game person, the game's at least worth playing until like Union level 30, because at that point you can do pretty much most of the content in the game, and progression slows way down at that point. So, like once you hit that wall where you feel like you're not really progressing anymore and you've kind of done everything in the game, then you can just drop it. Maybe come back when the next update happens to play the new content and then drop it again. At the end of the day, it is a free game, and I very much recommend that you keep it free as you play it. So that's all I have to say. Until next time, I will see you later. One last thing, real quick. Let me know if you want to see my playthrough of the story of this game, because I did record my story playthrough, most of it, anyways. So I do have that just sitting around, though I don't think I'm gonna bother taking the time and effort to edit and upload it, unless I see that there's people who want to see it. So let me know if you're interested in the comments.